Just a few more days to get 20% off the entire merch store.
We would be honored if you would join us.
Now, we've all seen videos on how powerful this crystal is or that crystal is, giving off certain abilities and legends that just aid in force powers or the lightsaber striking ability itself. But what if I told you about a crystal that Leia and Luke found that could revive the dead, heal wounds, and amplify their force powers 100-fold? Well, in Legends, Leia and Luke go to Mimban, and they find this crystal that Vader is looking for. Now, I've covered the events of this comic a while ago, but this one goes into detail on Leia's actual diaries of the crystal and what it did, whereas the comic just focused on Vader trying to kill them, then falling down a well after using Force Lightning on them, which the crystal actually granted him. Here's Leia's passage about it, then we're going to talk about it as usual. I found this really interesting, and it makes me wonder if they'll return it to the canon movies to revive someone, perhaps. Maybe they'll give this power to Snoke's ring, who knows. Anyways, here it is. 2 years after the Battle of Yavin, Luke and we took a wrong turn and wound up on the swamp planet Mimban. There we met a woman named Hala, who showed us what appeared to be a splinter of red glass that she claimed was a fragment of the Kyber crystal. The first time Luke touched it, he quickly drew back his arm as if he'd touched a live current. He said that the crystal caused sensations to course through him, and that the sensations weren't felt so much as experienced. The fragment increased one's perception of the Force, and apparently magnified and clarified in proportion to size and density. Luke believed that anyone in possession of the entire crystal would have such a lock on the Force that he or she could accomplish almost anything. Unfortunately, by the time we found the crystal in the Temple of Pomoyema, Darth Vader had found us. Keep in mind that Luke and I had no idea of our true lineage at the time of this encounter. I was unaware that I possessed any Force powers, and our proximity to the crystal did nothing to trigger any insights to our relationship with each other or Vader. I'm certain Vader had no idea he was my father, and if he had any inkling that Luke was his son, he didn't mention it. He was too busy trying to kill us both. Everything happened so fast. After Vader struck down Luke, I took Luke's lightsaber, and I'm afraid I didn't accomplish much. Vader didn't just hurt me. Actually, he killed me. I'd stopped breathing. Incredible as it sounds, Luke used the crystal to revive me and heal my wounds as well as his own. As for Vader, Luke told me he'd fallen into a crumbling well in the temple's floor. We left Mimban with the crystal and soon found that its powers decreased in direct proportion to its distance from the temple. Returning it to Mimban was out of the question, as it would have inevitably become the target of thieves, or worse, been claimed by the Empire. Except for its history, it seemed relatively useless, and over the years, I almost forgot about the Kyber crystal. So it seems the crystal, while the most powerful one in all of Star Wars, was actually only useful when near the Pomoyema temple on Mimban. It'd be kinda cool if this crystal was similar in power to the one on Snoke's ring that he got from beneath Vader's castle. It could make it an easy way for him to come back, or for anyone dead to come back in episode 9. I think while this crystal is super cool, I'm glad it was only in one piece from Legends, as I think this could be a little too overpowered if given into any hands, good or bad. Now, if Anakin had this crystal or knew the knowledge that this crystal was even in existence, well, I don't think he'd have turned to the dark side. He would just need to take Padme's body if she would have died, and if he didn't turn to the dark side, she wouldn't have died anyways. But if she did, he would have taken her body to Mimban, to the temple, and used the crystal to revive her. Now, of course, the book doesn't go into detail as to how severe or not the fatality had to be in order to still revive someone. But, I mean, hey, if they're dead, they're dead. Am I right? And the fact that it could heal wounds too was very interesting. I mean, clearly it can't regrow limbs, but I'm sure if in possession of it, the wielder would surely be superhuman. Just imagine if Anakin had this in his lightsaber and made it his own. I think he would absolutely decimate the entire galaxy. He would have taken over Yoda, he would have taken over Sidious, and definitely wouldn't have lost to the high ground. There are lots of theories that can be made from this crystal, but I really doubt they'd use the exact same thing in canon. That said, I can see them giving some significance and power to Snoke's crystal ring. As we saw when he died, his hand was just sitting there perfectly atop his throne with the ring sitting pretty. There must be something more to it and its connection to Palpatine statues that originally belonged to Plagueis. As I've said many times before, the inscriptions on the ring are that from the Dwarti, and the Dwarti were the golden statues from Palpatine's office in Revenge of the Sith. These statues were first in possession of Darth Plagueis, who Palpatine later killed in the novel, and Darth Plagueis is Palpatine's master for anyone new to Star Wars. Palpatine took these statues and put them in his office. There were 4 of them, and I really hope we get to find out more about them in comics or in the movie. movies, even. Let me know if you guys think J.J. Abrams will incorporate this crystal and its powers, or, some crystal with some sort of revivable ability, or if that's even a word, into the movies at some point in time. Could this be how Palpatine is coming back? Could this be how Snoke could return? I mean, just imagine if we get Snoke returning and Palpatine in Episode 9. That'd be kind of cool, too. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video. Have an awesome rest of your day, and until the next one, remember, the Force will be with you always.